We're so done with new year, new you. This year, it's more you on Bumble. More of you shamelessly sending playlists, especially that one filled with show tunes. More of you finding Geminis because you know you always like them. More of you dating with intention because you know what you want. And you know what? We love that for you. Someone else will too. Be more you this year and find them on Bumble.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. Sometimes the most painful part of getting sick is the getting better part. Waiting on hold for an appointment, sitting in crowded waiting rooms, standing in line at the pharmacy, that's painful. Amazon One Medical and Amazon Pharmacy remove those painful parts of getting better with things like 24/7 virtual visits and prescriptions delivered to your door. Thanks to Amazon Pharmacy and Amazon One Medical, healthcare just got less painful.
This is Optimal Living Daily, Learning to Not Be Goal Obsessed by Renata Leo of BuffaloSauceEverywhere.com, and I'm Justin Malik. And let's jump right into today's post as we optimize your life. Learning to Not Be Goal Obsessed by Renata Leo of BuffaloSauceEverywhere.com. We're constantly bombarded by the message that we need to have goals. We need to strive for success, or we're stagnating. Nothing good comes from staying in our comfort zone. Those who have big dreams are those who change the world, after all. And don't you want to change the world? Especially in a world where everyone has social media and we all have a limited view into the lives of others, it can be hard to keep from feeling like I'm not doing enough. As they say, comparison is the thief of joy. And as I say, seeing all of my successful friends on Facebook makes me feel like an utter failure as I sit on my couch watching reruns of The Office and gorging myself on Parmesan goldfish. Like many other millennials, I had my life mapped out for me through the age of 22. Everything was planned for me through college. My goal in life was to graduate, and it didn't dawn on me how scary it would be to be directionless after that. I applied for jobs right out of college, but I had no idea which I would get and where I would end up. This lack of direction unsettled me. Once I got a job, I at least had some stability, but I had no other real goals than to wake up and get my butt to work every morning. It felt weird. When I decided to go to graduate school, I felt much more comfortable. My need to have a goal and a direction was being fulfilled. I finally had a purpose again. When I decided that graduate school wasn't right for me, however, I had to adjust to being completely direction and goal-less, and learning how to deal with that has been challenging. After struggling with being without a goal or direction for some time, I realized that I am goal-obsessed. This generally means that I set goals pertaining to everything. Big things, small things, inconsequential things, doesn't really matter. I just feel more comfortable with a goal in mind. How many books I read, how much blog traffic I get, how much I eat. I think that goals can be a good thing, but I also think that being goal-obsessed has proven to be detrimental. For me, being goal-obsessed means that I'm constantly creating new goals for myself. I turn everything into a goal. Some of them are important goals that will affect my future, but for the most part, they're meaningless and arbitrary goals, the results of which will not affect my life in the slightest. I'm even hesitant to incorporate new habits and activities into my regular routine because completing them automatically becomes a goal whether or not they will actually benefit me in any way. What's wrong with making arbitrary goals, you may ask? Nothing, unless you're plagued by crippling feelings of failure when you can't achieve a meaningless goal for yourself. See if you can guess who that is. While I come up with the smallest goals for myself, I enter into a horrible phase of self-loathing when I don't complete them. On the other hand, completing a small, meaningless task leaves me with a lovely, fleeting moment of success. So, at least I'm balanced. While this weird goal cycle is obviously unhealthy, it has also made me addicted to setting goals. This means that as soon as I complete or fail to complete one goal, I immediately create the next one and start again. No, good job, Renata, or you made it, Renata. Nope, just a proverbial kick in the butt to get moving on to the next thing. What I'd really like to work on is celebrating the small victories. Any improvement should be celebrated. Anytime that I make myself better in some way or take one small step towards a goal or put my own mental health first or do something new and scary, these all deserve to be celebrated, but they get overlooked when all I can do is create a new goal for myself. Once I realized how goal-obsessed I was and how arbitrary my goals could be, I did some classic Renata overcorrecting and decided to strive to set absolutely no goals. If the goals and results were meaningless anyway, what did it matter if the goals existed or not? I've been working on keeping myself from creating goals, but as you can imagine, when your entire life has revolved around goals for 26 years, this is not the easiest thing to do. I found that it helps to check how meaningful my goals are in order to decide whether or not I will hold myself to them. Sure, some goals are important, but when you create goals about every little thing, some of them are bound to be absurd. The most helpful thing that I've done on this journey, however, is to learn how to forgive myself. Failure is inevitable, especially if you have a bunch of tiny, insignificant goals that you have no control over. With the odds of failure set that high and the stakes obviously very low, it's important for me to learn how to forgive myself. Feeling disappointed in myself for every little thing is no way to live. At this point, I haven't had much direction in my life for years, really. I'm finally getting comfortable with the fact that not every moment of my life needs to be planned out and that I'm not a failure if I miss the mark on some random goals that I create for myself. No need to create a plan or come up with some crazy thing to complete. I'm just working on finding what makes me happy and doing it, even if it doesn't mean that I'll achieve some impressive goal. I'm learning to be comfortable with just being. You just listened to the post titled, Learning to Not Be Goal Obsessed by Renata Leo of buffalosauceeverywhere.com, and I'll be right back with my commentary.
Oh, it's such a clutch off-season pickup, Dave.
I was worried we'd bring back the same team.
I meant those blackout motorized shades.
Blinds.com made it crazy affordable to replace our old blinds.
Hard to install?
No, it's easy. I installed these and then got some for my mom. She talked to a design consultant for free and scheduled a professional measure and install.
Hall of Fame son.
They're the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings in the world.
Blinds.com is the GOAT.
Go to Blinds.com for 40% off site-wide. Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Look, meal planning takes a lot of energy. Every Sunday, I'd spend hours on it, all while trying to keep things healthy and interesting. But since discovering Cook Unity, I've gotten all that time back to focus on my other goals. I've been loving their incredible variety of chef-crafted meals. Last week, I tried this amazing teriyaki roasted salmon from Chef Esther Choi, who was hailed as a new rising chef by Food Republic. The quality is incredible. Everything arrives fresh, not frozen, and it's made with local, seasonal ingredients. What I appreciate is how easy they make it to eat well. You can browse by protein, cuisine, or dietary needs, and the menu changes weekly with new chefs always joining. Plus, everything heats up in as little as 5 minutes with zero cleanup. Reset your routine with convenient, mouth-watering meals crafted with local ingredients by award-winning chefs. Go to cookunity.com/old or enter code OLD before checkout for 50% off your first week. That's 50% off your first week by using code OLD or going to cookunity.com/old. Thank you to Renata. As someone who tracks pretty much everything, I've been tracking every penny in and out of my life since 2010. I could definitely relate to being goal obsessed. When I first started this podcast, I was so focused on goals, getting a certain number of episodes recorded, reaching specific download numbers, having everything planned out perfectly. And while some of those goals helped get things moving, I've had to learn to loosen up a bit. And like Renata said, just be comfortable with being. I could definitely relate with what she said about having life mapped out through college. I remember changing majors probably 4 or 5 times, from undeclared when I started to computer science to sociology, accounting, finally settling on business. I felt that pressure to have everything figured out, to always be working towards something very specific. It's funny, over on Optimal Finance Daily, we often talk about setting smart goals for money. And then on Optimal Health Daily, my brother talks about fitness goals all the time. Goals definitely have their place, but I think Renata makes a great point about not letting them consume us. Sometimes we need to just enjoy the journey without obsessing over the destination. That's another lesson that's come up over the years on this show, and that took a while for it to sink in with me. For me, exercise is now less about goals and more about enjoyment, which I really didn't think was possible before. So good stuff to think about today and this weekend, but I'll leave it there for now. Thank you so much for sticking around until the end and coming back to listen every day. Wishing you a great start to your weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.